everyone, it's Debbie with Book and BuJo, and I'm so glad that you are here. Today is my August TBRopoly. I'm super excited to see how the board is going to treat me this month, but as always, let's go through how I did in July to see. And of course, I've already returned all of my library books, so I don't have any to hold up for you, so I will insert the image of the book here for you. My first roll was an even card, and that was to read a sci-fi. And for that, I read Vengeful, the second book in the Villain series by V.E. Schwab, and that was really good. Second roll was another even card, and that was to read a sequel. And for this, I read The Thousand Eyes, which is the second book in the Serpent Gate series by A.K. Larkwood, and I did enjoy it. My third roll, I landed on the nonfiction space, and for that, I read Essentialism, and this is by Greg McGowan, and I definitely enjoyed this one. I got a lot of good takeaways from it, and it is definitely one I will be reading again sometime. Roll number 4, I landed on a book club book, and for that I read Unseen Academicals by Terry Pratchett, and this is the 37th book in the Discworld series, and my first 5-star of the Discworld series. Roll number 6 was another even card, and that was to read a book with no magic. And for that I read Comfort Me with Apples and by Catherine Valenti, and I did read that one. Next roll, I landed on my newest square, and that was Special Editions, and I drew Neon Ghosts, and that one is here. That is A Witch's Sin, and is by Daniel B. Green. I have the cover hiding in here for you, but it has these beautiful pink sprayed edges and goes horribly with my red tie here, but that's okay, I ignore that. I am currently on chapter 11, which is page 231, so I'm just about halfway through. We still have a week left of July, so I will definitely finish that with no problem. Roll number 7 was to read a series, and that series was Of Cinder and Bone. And for that, I read the 4th book in the Of Cinder and Bone series by Kyoko M, and that was Of Fury and Fangs. And I love this series. I just think it is so interesting and so engaging. Like I am in the book from start to finish. So good. Highly recommend it. Roll number 8 was an odd card, and that was to read a book with a light cover, and for that I read The Dream Thieves, which is the second book in the Raven Cycle by Maggie Stiefvater, and I did read that. And last roll was another odd card, and that was to read a book with a raven or a snake on the cover, and for that I read Court of Ravens and Ruin, the first book in the Shadowbound Queen series by Eliza Rain, and I really enjoyed that one. I cannot wait to get to the second book because it ends on kind of a little cliffhanger. Like you're like, wait, what's gonna happen? Why'd you stop there? So I really would like to find the second book somewhere and pick that up soon. I need to see if my library has it. And so I completed my TBR. I actually finished so early that I only have half of one physical book left to read, and I have a week left. So I'm just starting to listen to random audiobooks as I'm doing things around the house that I still need to do. And so I did pick up Fate Calls the Elf Queen by J.M. Curl, and I believe that is the last book in the Elf Queen series. So I will be able to check another series off my list. Makes me happy. Now for August. I did complete my TBR for July, so let's draw a reward card. Now I'm going to go ahead and draw a reward card, and that is to do a free reroll. So if I land on something I don't want to do, I can reroll that. That's a good one. So for my reward, I drew a free reroll. So if I land on a square that I don't want to be on, I can reroll the die. But I also still have double up on prompts and skip next punishment that I have in my stack. So in case I want to use one of those, I can do that. Let's roll the die to see how many rolls I'm gonna do. And I was gonna roll a d20 this month to see how many books I was going to read, but that was for the Magical Readathon, and since that got moved to September, I'm going to go ahead and hold off on that, and I will do a D12 instead. There it is. Let's go ahead and roll and see how many rolls I'll be doing. 12. Okay. 12 it is. I decided to roll my 12-sided die, and of course I got a 12. Of course. There's no way I would have gotten like a 5. It's fine. I've had a couple of fairly easy months, so let's go ahead and see what the TBR game has in store. So with roll number 1. It'd be nice if I could use this for that one, but that is different. Okay, so I ended here last time, so that's where I will be starting, and let's go ahead and go with roll number 1. 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Yes, 24 in 2024. Awesome. The Sleeper and the Spindle. Roll number 1, I landed on 24 in 2024, which is great because I'm not doing very well keeping up with these. And that is The Sleeper and the Spindle by Neil Gaiman. I am a little more prepared today because I went to the library this morning and picked up a whole bunch of books on hold. So I have The Sleeper and the Spindle by Neil Gaiman in my hands, and I can't wait. It is so much shorter than I thought it was going to be, which is a good start to the TBR. It's always good to start with a short book. Ooh, and it's got some amazing illustrations in here. I am definitely looking forward to reading this one. Stunning. Roll 2 of 12. Ooh, 6 again. Interesting. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and it's even the same configuration as last time. Weird. Okay, classic. Roll number 2, I landed on classics, which is good because I haven't been keeping up with those quite as well either. And for that, I'm going to read, finally, Crime and Punishment by Fyodor Dostoevsky. So I've been wanting to read this one for quite a while, and I keep putting it off and keep thinking, oh, if my TBR is so big, I can't possibly read this one too. Well, I'm gonna do it, and it is second on my TBR list, so I'm gonna try and actually, if I can get through Sleeper and the Spindle and this one at the beginning, then I feel like I'm gonna be golden for the rest of the month, whatever TBRopoly may have for me. So roll 3 of 12. 7. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. All right, that's an odd card. That is a priority read. Ooh, this is nice. So far, so good. Roll number 3 was an odd card, and that is a priority read, which is also really good because I could take that off of my 24 and 2024 books, off of any of my series books, something I've been hoping to get to very soon. A read-along book, book club book, one of those. And for that, I chose Snuff by Terry Pratchett, and this is the 39th book in the Discworld series. I'm so close to the end. So close. So I definitely want to get this series completed this year on time. And we're going to plow through, and with a couple of 4.5, 5-star reads from last month with Terry Pratchett, I cannot wait to get into this one. Roll 4 of 12. 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Another odd card. A book with sprayed edges. Awesome. Roll number 4 was another odd card, and that was to read a book with sprayed edges. And for that, I'm going to choose The Fangs of War by E.J. Dobell, and this is the first book in Blood and Steel saga. And I've had this for a while, since March, I think, this year. So I mean, it's from 2024, so it's not like it's been sitting on my shelf forever, but it's so stunning, and I really want to read this one. And it does have black sprayed edges at the top and bottom, and then it has this amazing stenciling here on the spine. Well, I guess this is the spine on this side. So I am really looking forward to reading this one, and I have heard some really good things. Patrick Leo, a fellow booktuber, has read this and loved it. He's also read the short story in the series, and I believe the second book either just came out or is just coming out. So I need to get this read so I can start on those. So far I have rolled a 4 for every single roll. Interesting. Okay, roll 5 of 4. Hey, well, I got the 2 again. At least it's a 5 this time. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Another odd card. A lot of odd cards. Ooh, TBR game. So this one is fun. I get to play somebody else's TBR. And roll number 5 was yet another odd card. It's a lot of odd cards this game. Usually I get a lot of evens, but this is the game of the odd cards. And that is TBR game. So what this means is I need to find somebody else's TBR, whether it be TBR Bingo, Pictionary, what else is on there, like Becca's Bookopoly, something like that, and either choose one of their prompts and pick a book for myself, choose one of their books off of the ones that they chose, or I can play their game and choose whatever that prompt is. I have been watching Library Unbounded on BookTube for a little while, and she has Lord of the Reads. The Fellowship of the Reads is her TBR game, and she actually just completed that one, and so now she's on to the 2 TBRs. I don't remember what she's only had 1 month so far where she's played that one, so she's on to the second section of Lord of the Reads, and it is just so much fun. It's so cute, and she made a digital version of the game, and so I played that one, and I will insert the clip for that here. All right, the Lord of the Reads, Fellowship of the Reads. All right, so we'll start with a dice roll. A 9. That's what it is. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and 9. A sci-fi. As you saw, I rolled a 9, and that got me a sci-fi. So I get to read another sci-fi this month, which is awesome because I love sci-fis, but I never prioritize them. I always kind of tell myself I like watching sci-fi movies, but reading fantasy books. But that's not really true. I like reading sci-fis too because of Cinder and Bone series. Oh, that's a sci-fi series, and I love it. Jurassic Park, like that. Yeah, I love all of those. So for my sci-fi, I chose The Long Way to a Small Angry Planet by Becky Chambers, and this is the first book in the Wayfarers series, and I am very excited to get to this book, and it's been on my TBR for a while, or my want to read for a while, and I just never prioritized it, but August is the month. Roll 6 of 12. I was thinking in my head, oh, we're halfway there. And of course we got a double. All right. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So that is an even card. And that is a physical book. Okay, so I do have 2 reward cards from previous games, a skip next punishment, as well as double up on prompts. So what I think I'm probably going to do is a book with sprayed edges and a physical book. I am going to combine those and use one of my special edition books for that prompt. That's my plan so far. Roll number 6. You gotta have a double somewhere. There's always seems to have a double. There's almost every game has a double. So here we go. Here's our double. Hopefully it's the only one. So we are now up to 13 rolls. So this was 6 of now 13. And this time, instead of an odd, we got an even, and that is to read a physical book. And for this, I decided to finally use one of my rewards. I never use these, so this time I am using it. So I am using double up on a prompt, so I can take 2 prompts and read 1 book. Very excited about that. And for my physical book, I will be reading The Fangs of War by E.J. Doble, the first book in the Blood and Steel saga. Oh, that's shiny. So pretty. Love that. Okay, so I'm very excited to get to this one, and I get to use it for 2 different prompts. Roll 7 of now 13. 9. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. That is an odd card. I had to think about that for a second. A big book over 500 pages. Nice, I have a lot of those. Roll 7 of 13 now. We're back to the odd cards, and that is to read a big book over 500 pages. So I'm even more glad now that I chose to double up on my prompts. If I could triple up, I could also use that same book for this one because it's 575 pages, but no, just double, just 2 prompts. But for this one, over 500 pages, I chose Nightfall, and this is the 4th book in the Kingfall History series by David Estes, and I am loving this series so much. This is one of my favorite series. So I love David Estes' Fate Marked series right here. This was from his Kickstarter. He's going to be doing another Kickstarter, so when I find out when that's going to be, I will make sure to let you know. He's actually going to be redoing all 5 of the books. This one, he only did the first book, which was Fate Marked, but he's going to do all 5 books in that series. So I'm so excited. I cannot wait. I will definitely be getting that one. But Nightfall, 4th book in the Kingfall Histories series. Roll 8 of 13. 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Another odd card. It is an odd day. A 5-star prediction. Roll number 8 of 13. Another odd card, of course. And that is a 5-star prediction. And for that I chose Of War and Ruin by Ryan Cahill. And this is the 3rd book in the Bound of the Broken series, and I have 1 novella left after this, which is The Ice, and then it's just waiting for The Empires of Dust to come out the beginning of next year sometime. So sometime in the 1st quarter, I believe, January, February, March, somewhere in there. We don't have a date yet. Oh, so excited to get into this one. I can't wait. Definitely predicting 5 stars. I gave the last 2, the last novella and the 2nd book 5 stars, so high hopes on this one. Okay, roll 9 of 13. 8, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Even card. Next in a series. I am loving all these prompts I'm getting this time around. Roll 9 of 13, and that was an even card. Nice, another even card. And that is to read the next in a series. And I debated on this one which way I wanted to go. I could probably finish a series by reading the final book, but that's not what I chose to do. So I was going to read the next book in the Trials of Apollo series, and then I realized, because I think I'm on book 4, but then I realized there's a couple little novella type books in between some of the Trials of Apollo books that I have not read yet. And this one is supposed to come after the 2nd book and before the 3rd book, and that is Camp Half-Blood Confidential. And this is by Rick Riordan, and this one is number 2.5 in the Trials of Apollo series, I believe. At least that's what it looked like on Goodreads. So this is the one I'm going to go with next, especially since I have some now that I'm thinking about it, I have some pretty chunky books on this TBR. What am I doing? I may regret some of my choices. We'll see when we get to the page count at the end. Okay, so Camp Half-Blood Confidential. It's fairly short. I think it's going to be a lot of fun. We're going to have some pages that don't have a lot of writing, I believe. Oh yeah, there's some like pictures and stuff in here. Ooh, we got some maps. This one looks like it's going to be some fun. Oh, here's some more of the other books in his universe. And I wonder, oh yeah, so the back, this little bit here is the book 2 in the Trials of Apollo series. So that'll be nice. So we just have this part to go, and I've already read this. So can't wait to continue with the Percy Jackson universe. Roll 10 of 13. 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. D20. I have my D20 list here. Let's see what we get. That's not my, that's the 12. The 20. 7. Shadow Song by S.J. Jones. Roll 10 of 13. I landed on the D20 square, and I rolled a 7. So So number 7 here is Shadow Song, and that is by S.J. Jones, and that is the second book in the Winter Song series. And this, I believe it's just a duology, so I do have lots of good continuation and completion of series in August if I can get through them all. So let's hope. I'm very excited to get back into the Winter Song series because I did really enjoy the first book. It's so beautifully written, but almost a little too lyrical for me, but I did really enjoy it. I enjoyed the reading experience of it, so excited to see where the second book takes us.
Roll 11 of 13. 3. 1, 2, 3. Another odd card. Most recent purchase. I just purchased a book today, so...
Roll 11 of 13, and that was another odd card, and that is to read your most recent purchase. I just happened to get a book today, so I guess I'll be reading that, and that is A Tempest of Tea, and that is by Hafsa Faisal, and this is the first book in the Blood and Tea series, and I've heard so many good things about this book. I cannot wait to read it and find out a little bit more.
All right, roll 12 of 13. 11. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. Another odd card. TBR jar. I was just thinking things are going well. Only no more doubles, one more roll left, and then we get the TBR jar, which who knows what's in here. I did go in and remove a bunch of books that I had already read, and then I added a bunch in here that I've recently gotten that I want to read. Oh, well, I guess we're picking this one because it fell out. Suspending Reality. Know nothing about what that book is. Not sure. Yeah, no idea. We'll find out.
Roll 12 of 13. Another odd card, and that was TBR jar. So I had to pull out my TBR trash can and pull out a book, and I drew Suspending Reality, and this is by Chrissy Peoples, and this book is actually an anthology of sorts, so it's 5 books that are the first in series. So you have the first book of 5 different series. They may all be Chrissy Peoples. I haven't looked super far into it. So my thought for this one is, as long as I read the first book in the series, then I will call the roll completed. And if I can get to the entire book, then that is a bonus, but I need to at least read the first book in the series. My other thought is, if I can finish A Witch's Sin before the end of July, then I will start reading this one, and then that means I will need to read at least the first 2 books in this one before I can call it complete. Now it says it's got 5 books in here, but there's actually 6 different books listed. So that's kind of interesting. So we have Hope, Survival, and New Beginnings, The Zombie Chronicles. I think that Hope, Survival, and New Beginnings, that one might be a little bonus novella at the beginning. I kind of looked at the beginning a little bit, and I think that might be what it is, a little short story novella thing at the beginning. And then the actual books are The Zombie Chronicles, Eternal Vows, Crush, which is a vampire series. So we got zombies and vampires, Enchanted Castle, and Agartha's Castaway. So most of these are paranormal, fantasy, horror novels, which will be kind of fun. And they're all the first in a series, so I will be starting 5 series this month, possibly. That doesn't really help me with reading down my series, does it? All right, we're gonna go for it though. All right, last roll.
Dare I say, last final roll, 13 of 13. Yes, positive thinking. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10. And that is an even card. And that is a cozy book.
13 of 13. We made it with no more doubles. Hallelujah. And it's another even card this time, and that is to read a cozy book. Now, A Tempest of Tea I think would work for that, but I already chose that and I already used my double up prompt, so I can't use it again. But I was thinking, what other books kind of fit that cozy vibe? And I thought, well, why not? I think it would work. We'll see. If I read it and it doesn't work, well, then I read a bonus book and I'll need to choose another. But I think this one's going to work. And that is A Natural History of Dragons by Marie Brennan. And this is the first book in the Memoirs of Lady Trent series. And I have been wanting to read this book for a long time. Like, we're talking like 2, 3, 4 years. It's been a while. And my library has it. My library also has the audiobook. So why am I still waiting? So this is what I'm going for with my cozy book. So here are the books from my TBRopoly game. So there's obviously not 13 books here because we got some here and a couple audiobooks. So we have The Sleeper and the Spindle for 24 in 2024. Crime and Punishment on my Kindle for a classic. Snuff for a priority read. Things of War for a book with sprayed edges as well as a physical book. Long Way to a Slow Angry Planet for a sci-fi. Nightfall on my Kindle for a book over 500 pages. Of War and Ruin also on my Kindle for a 5-star prediction. Camp Half-Blood Confidential for the next in a series. And then we have the audiobook of Shadow Song, which is the second book in the Winter Song series by S.J. Jones. A Tempest of Tea by Hafsa Faisal on my Kindle as well for a most recent purchase. Suspending Reality also on my Kindle for TBR jar pick. And A Natural History of Dragons for a cozy read. But you know, that ain't all I'm reading, because there's always something else that I'm trying to get on my TBR. So of course I'm still part of book clubs, Readalongs, Readathons, and all of that fun stuff. For the BuJo Buddies book club, we are reading The Long Way to a Small Angry Planet by Becky Chambers, the first book in the Wayfarer series. Another reason why that is on my TBR. And getting through that one, which is great. And then we have the Catch-Up Book Club with Becca and the Books. And that one we are reading Wisdom of Crowds, which I have already read, so I don't need to get to that one. And then there's 2 short story collections, I think, that come at the end of that, and I can't seem to find those in my library, and so I'm not a huge fan of short story collections, so I don't necessarily want to purchase them. So if I can find them, I'll read them. If not, then I am pretty much done with the First Law World books. And then for the Game of Tomes book club, I did return the book already to the library because it was due, but I did finish it, and that is 1Q84 by Haruki Murakami. And oh my gosh, I love that book. I'm still thinking about that book. I love that book. I need to run it through Compile. I'm not sure if I want to give it a 4.5 or a 5-star. There's parts of it that lean more 4.5 and other parts that lean more 5-star. So maybe I'll do on Storygraph, I can do a 4 3/4, 4.75 star. We'll see. I'll run it through Compile and see how it turns out. Then Readalongs, we have the Wheel of Time Readalong, and I think I might actually be ahead at this point. So if I don't get to this one in August, that's okay, because it's supposed to be the book for August and September, but I think we pushed everything back a month, so I think it's more the September-October book. That is A Knife of Dreams by Robert Jordan, and this is the 11th book in the Wheel of Time series. So again, if I get to this in August, great. If not, then I will try it in September or October. And then for Discworld, of course you already saw it once, but that is Snuff, the 39th book in the Discworld series. But we also have The World of Pooh by Terry Pratchett, which is the 39.5 book in the series, so in between 39 and 40, and I do have that on hold at my library. It is just not in yet. I believe it's coming from one of the other towns nearby, so once that comes in, I will be able to go pick it up. And then we have book 40 in the Discworld series, which is Raising Steam by Terry Pratchett, which means I am almost done. One more month, so September will be the end of the Discworld series, and I will have read them all. Very excited for that. Next up is Readathons. Buzzwordathon with Kayla from Books and Lala. The word for August is like, so you need to have the word like somewhere in the title. So it could be the word like, it could be likely, unlikely, liked, likes, some form of the word like in there. And of course I went to my trusty Kindle spreadsheet where I have all of the books on my Kindle listed on my spreadsheet, and I just did a search for the word like because that's the easiest way to go, because none of the books on my TBR had that word in there. So I had to resort to my Kindle list. And for that, I'll be reading Talks Like Thunder, and this is by Marjorie Carter and Randall Nurhus. This one is Novella 1, Red with Native Blood, and this is a historical Native American story, coming of age story, and I am very excited to get to this one. And it should also check off one of my boxes for the 52 book club to read an Indigenous author. And lastly, we have Year in Aeldia, or Adventures in Aeldia, the year-long readathon with the G at Book Roast. Since she pushed the autumn equinox to September, I am doing the September prompts for August instead. And for that, Karasu has to follow a giddy friend through a shiny rift portal. And for that, he needs to read a cozy book. And of course, I could pick A Tempest of Tea, but I already have A Natural History of Dragons by Marie Brennan as a cozy prompt, so I'm just going to choose this one again. So this one will work for both prompts. And Ariel needs to inspect a dark and mysterious pool on the corridor floor, and that is to read a scary or a dark book. And for that, I chose Of War and Ruin by Ryan Cahill, the third book in the Bound and the Broken series, because there's definitely going to be some dark and some scary times in this story, I'm sure. I almost forgot about the 2 readathons that I'm going to be taking part in August, so it's just the month-long readathons. The first one is Battleathon with Mel from Melonor Reads, and this one is a point-based readathon, so you choose a team, and I will be on Team Stars, and the points are based on your rating of the book. So a 5-star read, you get 500 points, 4-star read, 400 points, 3-star, 2-star, DNF, etc. So I will be doing that one, and there's no prompts or anything. You just read books you think you're going to give 5 stars to, and you cannot do half stars. So if you would give the book a 4.5, if it's more 4.5 to 5, then you can give it a 5-star. If it's more 4 to 4.5, then you would give it a 4-star for this readathon. The other readathon that I'm taking part in, I have participated in previously, and I don't think they had it last year, but they did bring it back this year because it's the Year of Dragons. So of course you have to have Draconathon during the Year of the Dragons. And this is put together by Jade Juniper and Soleil Celine, and I will leave all of their channels linked down below in case you would like to participate as well. And this one is based on the gem hunt, so you want to try and find as many gems as you can. You have 5 main prompts, and then there's some other prompts that go along with it that are more of like the self-care prompts, so like doing a meditation or taking photos or things like that to make a fun draconic style snack, things like that. But I'm mainly focusing on just the reading prompts, so there's 5 of those. The first one is Snapdragon, a dragon book with spells. So all of the books do have to have a dragon somewhere in the book. So keep that in mind. You can't just read a random book that happens to have spell work in it. And for this one, I will be reading Knife of Dreams by Robert Jordan. There is the Dragon Reborn, and the Dragon Reborn is able to do some magic. So using this one for that first prompt. The next prompt is Cherry Blossom, Nature. So nature on the cover or in the title in the book itself if it focuses on nature. For this one, I will be reading A Natural History of Dragons by Marie Brennan. So this one definitely has dragons, and I believe this one will work because we're talking about nature. Nature includes animals, so I'm using it. Then we have a Forget Me Not, oldest book on your TBR, and for that I will be reading Of War and Ruin by Ryan Cahill, the 3rd book in the Bound and the Broken series, and I have been putting this one off for way too long. And then we have Gardenia, a book that contains love, And I will be reading Nightfall by David Estes because there are dragons, multiple dragons, and there are also a couple of little themes of love that are spattered throughout the book between some of the different characters. So I was able to get pretty much all the dragon books from my TBR onto this readathon, but there is one more that didn't work, and I was really bummed about it because I had to find another book to add to my TBR for this, but I was able to find something short. So the prompt is Daisy and read a book under 250 pages. Well, Natural History of Dragons is the shortest dragon book I have in my TBR, which luckily I had quite a few dragon books on my TBR this month, so that was good. But it was over 300 pages. So I went to my handy Kindle book list and I found one that was only 44 pages, and that is Storm Dragons, Volume 1. And this is by L.S. Rees and Frank Fernandez. I know absolutely nothing about this book. It was a freebie I got from something, so we'll check it out. My full TBR, which it doesn't look too bad right here because a lot of the books are on my Kindle and a couple are audiobooks, so I don't have a lot of the physical ones here. But let's go ahead and do a quick page count and see what happens. So I totaled up all the pages and it comes to 7,927 pages. And that comes to 255 pages a day. Yeah. Now, some of the really long books I have, like Of War and Ruin and Nightfall, which are both over, like Of War and Ruin is 1,483 pages. Yeah, and Nightfall is like 828 pages? 823 pages. But I have both of those on audiobook as well. I purchased those when I purchased the book on my Kindle, and so that'll help. But when I totaled up all of the audiobook options that I also have, that comes to 194 hours and 58 minutes, so basically 195 hours. And that's basically, it's 6 hours and 29 minutes a day, so 6.5 hours a day, which not too bad. But I also have some physical books, and there's times when I'm doing other things that I can't listen to audiobooks. So like if I'm in the car, I'm listening to audiobooks. If I'm cleaning, doing laundry, you know, that kind of stuff. If I'm setting up my reading journal or bullet journal, I can listen to those while I'm doing that. But there's a lot of times when I can't do audiobooks. Yeah. We'll see if I make it through my TBR or not. I'm very hopeful. I like that this time I just picked books because I wanted to pick the books and didn't even think about the page count until I got to the end and was like, well, shoot. I mean, I really only have 16 books on my TBR, which isn't that bad. But there's definitely some chunkers. So maybe putting Crime and Punishment as well as Nightfall and Of War and Ruin on the same TBR was probably not the best choice. But we'll go with it and see what happens. So send some love my way. Good reading vibes and all of that. So hopefully I can have some good times to sit down and read it. I also have Handbells starting back up again in August, but that one's not the more professional group, it's the group at my church. But we're also on the worship team twice this week, which is the last 2 weekends in August, which makes it really hard to push through to the end. So I need to make sure and do a big push at the beginning. I'm gonna need to join some sprints, I think, the first couple of weeks of August to get through some of these. But it's going to be a good month. What is on your TBR for August? And have you read any of the books on my TBR? And if you have, I would love to know what your thoughts were on them, if you liked them or not. And my reading journal for August Plan With Me is coming up next. And then after that will be my May and June rapid fire wrap up. And after that, we'll see what happens. So thank you for joining me, and please like, comment, and subscribe if you want to, and hit that notification bell so you don't miss any more bookish content. And until next time, keep reading. Bye.